Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It is exactly 12:06. This is the Mid-Morning Talk with me, Julie Alli, and I do hope that you found the first hour of the show inspirational. We were talking with Sheikh Rafiq Hassan. We were talking Ramadan, the month of the Quran. We're moving on now, and Sunday past was World Autism Day. We're going to speak to a parent of a teenager who suffers from autism. There were lots of events all around the world, here in Cape Town as well. There was plenty events to commemorate the day, to understand what autism is all about, for people to become sensitive to this condition called autism, so that they, when they do and if they do interact with people with a condition of autism, that they do it with respect and hopefully with a bit of understanding. We're going to be talking with Sandy Pekeur, Sandy, the mother of Joshua, who is about, I think he's a teenager, and she's going to talk about her journey with Joshua through autism. Sandy, a very good morning, rather, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon and salam, and thank you for having me and Joshua, of course, on the show.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, let's correct your name. I think I mispronounced it. It's Sandy Pekeur. Sandy, am I right?
Perfectly done. Yes, it's a whole sandy vibe.
Okay, is that
Yes.
why you married your husband? Because he had the same name, the same surname as your first name?
Well, I did not even know that in the beginning. Gosh. Don't make me
Okay.
blush.
All right, Sandy, we are going to talk to you about Be My Voice, One Cookie at a Time initiative. We're going to be talking about your journey with your 15-year-old son, who was born with the condition autism. When he was born, and quite coincidentally or ironically, he was born on Autism Day.
Correct.
Only for you to find 2 years later that your son is, what is the terminology, autistic or has autism?
Autistic.
All right.
Yes.
What were the signs and symptoms regarding your son? Because we must understand and recognize this is a spectrum disorder. No
Correct.
two people present in the same way.
Yes. The signs was picked up way in the beginning already, just about a few months before he was diagnosed. But the signs was actually identified by his teacher when when he went to creche. And to have a teacher that knows how to identify and signs already, obviously alert us. And the signs was no eye contact and closing the ears, not acknowledging his name. I mean, he did not know his name is Joshua. And aligning his toys, not be able to take himself to the toilet. Those were a few concerns for us already. And I mean, the process for your child to be diagnosed is a very, very lengthy and a long process to actually have the child diagnosed eventually. And this is where support means a lot. I mean, when he was diagnosed, a lot
How
of
old was
reading
he
up.
at the time? How old was he at the
He was
time?
two. He was 2 years old when he was
Okay.
diagnosed. But take note, Joshua was born 1.6. I was very tiny. His weight was 1.6. He was born 2 months premature, and he was about a few months in hospital. But you know what? He's a fighter. I mean, where he is now, and he was born on World Autism Day, and he is 16 years old and no longer 15. He's 16 years old, so he's
Wow.
a teenager.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm trying to understand. You said he was born prematurely. You yourself was very tiny. He was born at a low birth rate, and he spent some time in hospital thereafter. Did you, during your journey, when he was first diagnosed with possibly being on the autistic spectrum, did you kind of second guess yourself and ask the questions like, maybe if he was, if he had weighed more, maybe if he hadn't spent time in hospital, maybe if, and if carried on. I have no doubt in my mind that you beat yourself up on it all the time.
Yes, no, very true. Lots of questions. What did I do wrong in my pregnancy? Why did I stay at work so long? I should have paid more attention to my pregnancy, to my child, my unborn child, what I'm eating, that type of thing. But you know what? Um, yes, because we have a lot of questions as parents, and this is where your partner is plays a big role. I mean, my husband is amazing. He's the biggest hero for Joshua, and having a partner like my husband, being very supportive with Joshua and his needs, and uh, um, doing what he needs to do as a father, that means a lot. And then you have those parents, or actually the single mother that's suffering and not having that support. So yes, a lot of questions. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Why didn't I pay more attention to myself or my health? Why didn't I go on earlier maternity leave? All of those questions. But once you start reading up, and once you have that support system, it is giving that little bit of relief to yourself, and of course to your partner as well. Thank you.
However, all of those questions and beating up on yourself, I think medical science does dismiss all of that, does it not? Because, like
Yes,
with a child that is born with Down syndrome, in children with autism, I'm not sure if it's chromosomes. Is there an issue with chromosomes? But there's an issue in their DNA makeup that actually
correct,
causes the autism. So nothing you had done or didn't do was
correct,
the reason why he was born with autism.
correct. You're 100% correct. And also, autism is a neuro disorder. It's to do with the brain. So yes, you are 100% correct.
Okay, we've also said that we understand that it is such a wide spectrum. Autism presents on such a wide spectrum that no two
Yes,
patients are necessarily alike. Similar, maybe, but not alike.
correct.
But let's talk, and we're going to go into Joshua's condition in a little while. But let's talk
Sure.
about misconceptions around autism.
What is the question about misconceptions? Because you know what? Um, it's
For
very, very
example, for
okay.
example, for example,
Sure,
people who have
sure.
autism are violent, and then family and
Yes,
friends
I
distance
just wanted to touch
themselves
on
from
that.
you.
Yes. Yes, I just wanted to touch on that. And you know what? This is where the misconception is coming in. And for Nosh for Josh, which is the foundation that's moving now over to Joshua Sandy Institute, we want to remove that away. And this is also where the struggle is coming in with economic growth, because there's not enough jobs. Or when it comes to employment, they are very scared because there is lots of behavior, there's lots of anger. This is what the misconception is about. It could be with anxiety attacks, seizures, epilepsy, all of that. And for my side of the institute, we've picked that up actually with the Be My Voice campaign that we've been doing. Um, if it's fine or allowed, can I touch on the Be My Voice campaign that we started last year?
Sure.
Thank you. Yes, what happened was my son Joshua, he was 15 years old. He asked for cookies. And I kept on saying to him, "Now, Daddy, just go buy the cookies." Not knowing that he actually wants to bake the cookies with me.
Oh,
And when it
wow.
comes to cookie and baking, it brings that anxiety away. It brings that anxiousness away. And when myself and my son starts baking, he's communicating with me. And that freedom of allowing your special needs child, especially autism, to showcase that is amazing. I mean, last year we baked 22,000 cookies. We had 33 community bake-offs. We literally go into the community. We reach out where our special needs children are. Take note, our focus is autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. We invite those family to come to the community bake-off. What I can say to you is it's the most amazing experience. I mean, there's a lot of emotions, there's laughter, there's tears, there's all of that, showcasing your child can take a cookie and put icing on it, can put the cookie into a packet. I mean, we're touching on fine motor, gross motor. So what we are doing as Joshua Sandy Institute, we want to educate, we want to coach your child to create that economic growth. So when employment opens up for our children, they already know and they're already prepared how to go in for an actual interview, how to maintain your anxiety when you're in a work environment. Thank you.
However, you did indicate to me at the beginning of the interview that Joshua, your son, is nonverbal. And again,
Correct.
we stress that different patients or different people with autism,
The spectrum.
present differently.
Correct.
Another misconception is that autistic people are intellectually challenged. So let's
Oh,
talk about that aspect and the fact that I understand a lot of people with autism are either totally nonverbal or partially verbal. That would
correct.
impact on their future to lead a very independent life going forward,
Correct.
would it not?
You're correct. For instance, with Josh, he is very limited with his speech. Like me and you communicate, Joshua cannot do that. He will be saying a few words. But now, again, when it comes to autism, visuals is very important. Now, what I do with Josh, and I'm using Josh as an example, and I've been also coaching other parents to do that with their child. When you, for instance, go to the shop, you will show the picture or take pictures, for instance, beforehand to show your child you going to the shop. Again, you're preparing your child for that anxiety. Sorry. Visuals is very important for autism. Again, with misconception is intellectual. Yes, I understand that. But if you coach the autistic child, they blend in beautifully. You won't even know it's an autistic child. Yes, for instance, with Joshua, I usually put the earphones on, so it blocks off all kinds of sound. Joshua, I prepare with visuals. This is the activity that you will be doing. For instance, you are baking cookies. Joshua's already in the routine. Like he knows he needs to sift the flour, he needs to open the egg, he needs to cream the butter. He knows already the routine. So again, when you prepare an autistic child, a routine is very important, and this will help them in a work environment. Thank you.
How do you respond to people who seem to think that autism is a disease and should be and can be cured? Or perhaps think there probably may be times when, um, the child is a little more excitable and people think that he hasn't been given the right medication or you've not
Discipline,
given
or
his
even
medication
discipline.
as yet. Absolutely.
Correct.
So
Mm.
that's a two-pronged question. How do you respond to that?
Firstly, when it comes to being in public with, again, I'm using Josh as an example because he is actually the one that has been teaching me how to handle him in public. I mean, for instance, when Joshua was in the shop, you have your normal child, I'm calling it normal, and you have your special needs child. Your normal child is having a tantrum. The same with the special needs child can also have a tantrum. It's the way how you deal with it. Now, with Joshua, I must say I've been very lucky. He's not been throwing any tantrums in a shop. But now also take note, when you take out your special needs child, especially with autism, it is a sensory overload. You're sitting right here. I'm sitting right now. I can only hear the cars. When it comes to autism, they can hear the cars, they can hear the bird, they can hear the hooting. Everything is happening in one go. And this is why when it comes to the public, and I get very, very sad, and I've been through this through Josh's 16 years or 14 years. When you go in public and they look at your child and he's hand flapping and they're thinking, what is wrong with your child? Or your son is making that bubbly noise. I wish, no, yes, I wish that our community or the public can have more knowledge about autism and more respect about autism. Yes, your child is hand flapping. Yes, your child is babbling. Yes, your child is having a sensory overload. But just to go up and say, you know what, mom and dad, you're doing a great job right now. and not saying what is wrong with your child. I mean, I usually freak out, and people staring when your child is having a meltdown. And I feel so sad for parents, even with your normal child having a tantrum when they don't know how to deal with it. So all I can say is you try your best. Yes, your child has medication, perfect. The medication can only help so much, and this is where visuals is coming in. Number two, when your child is having a sensory overload, you need to stay calm for your child's sake. And that's a tough one, because sometimes when you're in public, it's very overwhelming for the child and for your side and for yourself to actually maintain yourself. Thank you.
So, Sandy, you've touched on medication, and I see some lovely
Yes.
pictures of you as a family popping up on the screen.
I
He is
see
a
that too.
beautiful
Wow.
boy. That is really
Yes. Thank
beautiful indeed. Um, let's talk about the medication. What sort of medication is prescribed for people with autism? Again, we do know that obviously autism doesn't affect everyone in the same way.
you.
So it is
No,
helpful to look out for the different symptoms. But by and
no.
large, would you say that similar medication is prescribed for people with autism?
Now, take note when it comes to your autistic child, they are unique in a different way. Their needs are different in various ways. For instance, again, I'm going to Joshua. Joshua is not on any medication during the day. Okay, he's only on a nighttime tablet to shut, obviously, for him to sleep at nighttime to shut him down because he struggles to actually sleep at night. Joshua has been diagnosed with epilepsy
As
actually a few
well.
days ago.
Is that
He,
common, Sandy? Can I ask you that question? Is it
well,
common for
well,
the majority of
yes,
patients who have autism that they have the comorbidity of
yes,
autism as well? It
correct.
is.
You
Okay.
you are 100% to that because Joshua, from age he's born up till the age of 15, he's been very healthy, very, very healthy, never been ill. I mean, yes, he had adenoids removed, tonsils removed, grommets he had inserted a few times, but he's never been ill like having epilepsy. And obviously, with the reading up, etc., autism and epilepsy is going path to path. Um,
Okay.
he had his first seizure the beginning of March, and he had his second seizure actually last week on Monday. And he's been going through a lot
Must
of
have
tests,
been
EEG,
must have been terribly must have been very terrifying for
beyond
you guys.
traumatizing, beyond not knowing, not knowing how to help your child and not knowing what to do when something like this happens. Because I mean, the first one he had it in his bedroom, and whatever skills you have, you do what you need to do. The second one he had it in the shower, so he's got a slight
Oh,
fractured rib. And I was in the shower with him, have brushing my teeth. But now you know what? I'm very lucky. Josh has got a little kitten. Well, she's not a kitten anymore. Well, she's 6 months old, and she actually came in perfect timing because it's almost like she senses when he is going to have a seizure because she starts meowing and going louder and louder and louder. And this is also where a little pet companion comes in very handy because they sort of prepare you something is going to happen. But now she started meowing, but I was brushing my teeth and I didn't know that he's going to have a seizure. So what happened was he was having the seizure in the shower, and they always say you need to try and not try and make sure that they don't bite their tongue. And me, as a mother, you will do anything. And I put my fingers in his mouth, and in
oh,
there, yeah, he bit
yeah.
my fingers. But at least not God willing, thank God that he did not injure his tongue. Because I mean, imagine
Yeah.
your tongue is bitten and you cannot speak or say anything on top of
Or
that
eat
too. So,
properly. Yes,
or eat
yes.
properly, and he loves his food. I mean, so I did what I needed to do as a mother, and going through that motions and waiting on the ambulance and waiting and waiting, and you trying to get hold of family and you're on your own. There's a lot coming through.
Okay,
So yeah.
your expectations for Joshua going forward, He's only 16 years old now, and at some point, he's going to, he's going to be an adult. He's going to have needs of an adult. He's going to want things that other young adults want as well. How are you going to be able to break through and explain to him why you can't go to work, why you can't have a car, why you can't possibly be in a relationship?
Yeah.
Sadly.
What I can say to you now is this is why on Saturday, not Saturday, Sunday, it was International World Autism Day. And I've been saying to my husband, yes, Josh has got a foundation called Nosh for Josh, and we started at age 2. This is the time to change the angle for the foundation. And Joshua is now a teenager, and we need to preparing for the future. We need to prepare him for, if we as parents are no longer there, I mean, the legacy is important. And we actually launched off on Sunday Joshua's nonprofit company in aid of Joshua called the Joshua Sandy Institute for Diverse and Inclusion. And this institute is all about educate, the coaching of the parent and the coaching of the child, the wellness, and this is where we partnered with Active Ambulance, which is a paramedics company. So the wellness for the child is, or the youth, or the adult will always be there. Economic growth, we've partnered with a bank, Nedbank, and they're opening up savings accounts. So you see, we're working towards the future. So, and also the independency of your special needs child. So every child will have a bank account where it's coming in. Myself and my dear, I'm calling them my second parents, Buta Yusuf and Mrs. Halima Payton. They are my kitchen coordinators with myself, where we do skills development with the cookies, because the cookies we want to push over to economic growth. So once the cookies is in bakeries or coffee shops or retail, and the funding comes, not the funding, the funds come back into the nonprofit company, the child or the youth will earn a stipend. And you know what an amazing feeling will it be for a parent that has a special needs child, for instance, autism, to see in their bank account they're earning a stipend for baking cookies with the Josh Sandy Institute. So Josh's path is already worked out for him. And the path for our special needs children is already there. We have over 2,000 children or youth that has special needs with autism and autism and Down syndrome that is ready for employment. But we need the funding. We need the funding and we need that help. I mean, we go into communities. I mean, we go into Kalicha, Guguletu, we went into Leonsdale. We go into those areas with my car. We're looking for an actual van where we have the cookies already ready made to go into the community bakeries. I mean, last weekend, I was so blessed to have the paramedics company supporting me with a vehicle. If we have our own vehicle to do the community bake-offs, to go into the areas that we can't go into, it will be amazing. You know, our dream, and I must say Josh's dream, is to have our own premises and our own kitchen. So our kids can say, Mom, Dad, I'm going to work right now. Imagine that amazing
Inshallah.
thing.
Inshallah, God willing, it becomes a reality. We've got to wrap up in a minute or two. Let me ask you, in terms of Joshua's condition and other special needs children, are there schooling facilities available? And I do know that with special needs, because their needs are so different from each other, it does create quite a challenge for the schooling system. What is his journey through education been like, and for other people like himself?
Well, with all honesty, Joshua is 15. Well, he's 16 years old. Sorry, he's 16 years old. He's been through 9 schools. You're going to ask me why 9 schools?
Exactly.
The schools are either governmental or the schools are private. And it's not working for Joshua. I mean, Joshua's been having a rough one for schooling. He's either been abused or they bullied him, or the fees are becoming too expensive when they can't afford it. And I don't know why private institutions push the fees up for our special needs children. I mean, there's not enough schools for our children right now. So what Josh is having, currently, he's having private tutoring at either the premises of the tutor, or he's having it at home. He's having separate speech therapy. He is with Stellenbosch University's biokinetics and kinderkinetics for 6 years. They don't charge us a fee. I mean, he's been doing this as a bursary, for instance, well, for a bursary, and we just pay obviously for fuel. Now, Joshua is blessed to have this. What about
Absolutely.
our other special needs children in disadvantaged communities? And this is why I'm saying we offer the community bake-offs. We actually go out with our car to go and reach out to that that special needs child and the parent to offer that comfort. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. Joshua hardly been invited to birthday parties because, I
Of
mean, because of
course.
his diagnosis. How many other special needs children never been at a birthday party? So what do?
That's right.
We offer a party. We do a party. We give that red carpet moment. We have entertainment. We have special speakers. We empower that parent and say, you know what? You're not alone. Yes, God got your back all the way, but we are there for you and your child. And this is why the Joshua Sandy Institute for Diverse and Inclusion, take note, inclusion is very important because that is not happening for our special needs children. So all I can say is open your hearts. Yes, open your pockets, please, because we need
Absolutely.
support. We need help with
Absolutely.
funding. We need help with a vehicle. We need help with the actual ingredients, to constantly beg and plead for flour, sugar, butter. I mean, last weekend we have amazing partnerships with Blue Ribbon Bread. We made 2,500 sandwiches. We had Grand West Sun exhibit that was sponsored to us. I mean, we had so many that sponsored in kind,
Sandy,
like the
sorry, Sandy, you're
yes,
breaking up now, and we have come to the end of the show. Thank you very much.
thank
How
you.
can people get in touch with you if they want to try and assist in any way possible?
Of course, WhatsApp or a phone call is very, I'm always available. I try. 072 And yes, thank you. We support for your
Thank you
support.
indeed. God bless. May He
Thank you
be
so
with
much.
you every step
Thank
of the
you.
way in your
Yes.
journey in assisting your son to have a normal life as possible.
Thank
And
you so
thank you so
much.
much for sharing your story.
Yes, and a
Go well.
blessed
God
Ramadan
bless.
to
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you
Thank
indeed.
you.
It is exactly
Thank you.
12:34. This is Mid-Morning Talk with me, Julie Alli. And gosh, wasn't she inspirational? You sometimes sit here thinking and crying to yourself and saying, God, I don't have any shoes. And then you see someone who has no feet. Brilliant lesson to all, to one and all, including you and I. Stand by. We're going to be talking with our social worker from Islamic Care Line, and that, of course, is Shuhaida Adams. She's going to talk about relationships or how to mend relationships in the month of Ramadan.